The last few classes we have been doing refraction through a prism, then dispersion. That's exactly what happens in a prism. That is also a kind of refraction. Now we'll look at the next section, that is refraction through lenses. Now when we discuss about lenses, we have two types of lenses, convex lens and concave lens. Now we are first going to look at a single curved surface, and in particular a convex surface. So the topic is refraction through single curved surface or refraction through a convex surface. So refraction through convex surface. So let's draw the ray diagram first. So we have, basically what is the difference between a convex surface and a concave surface? Okay, so this is a convex surface. When you hold your hand like this, what comes on this side is a convex surface, and when it is like this side becomes a concave surface. So we are going to look at a convex surface. So you have a convex surface. Now since this is a single curved surface, I am going to draw it like this. If it was double, then it will be a complete lens. But we are considering a single surface, and we will take a principal axis going through the optic center or the pole P. Now when I say you have a glass and air, there will be refractive indices and it will be different. So let's say this is N1 and this is N2, two different materials. N1 is air and N2 is glass. So N1 is always rarer medium and N2 is a denser medium in this case. Now we will consider a point object O. We are not placing anything like a candle or a big object AB in front of the curved surface. We are just considering a point object placed at some random distance before the or just in front of the curved surface. So you have your object here. Now to obtain an image, you need to have minimum 2 incident rays. So one ray, we will take any ray going from O, going and meeting the lens at some angle at the normal, and what happens when it goes from a rarer medium to a denser medium? It will undergo refraction. So let's say the ray goes like this. So I take a incident ray. So at this point we can draw a normal and we will mark this as Cn. Now this is from a rarer medium to a denser medium. So what happens? The ray bends towards the normal. So if this is the incident ray, this will be the refracted ray. Now why I take this normal up to the principal axis is because this is a curved surface. So any normal which goes like this will be passing through the center. That's because the basic geometry, you have a circle, and when you draw lines, that is diameter or radius, that is always going to be perpendicular to this point or perpendicular to this point. So the same way to a curved surface, if you draw a perpendicular, that will go and meet at the center. So this is the basic principle why I took this as C, which is the center of our curved surface. Now here you have the refracted ray meeting the principal axis. Now next we will consider a line passing through the principal axis or an incident ray which goes and falls on the curved surface at 90 degree. Now when it falls at 90 degree to the surface, it will go undeviated. So this ray keeps going like this. So you have incident ray, refracted ray, incident ray, the same line just pass through and it will meet this ray at this point, and I take it as image I. So you have an object, point object placed, you have 2 incident rays, 2 refracted rays. This is actually not a refracted ray, it just passes, and you have your image here. So this is how the figure looks like. Now let's mark various distances and angles. So this is the pole. So object distance, the distance till object. So that we will take it as U. Then the distance till image, we will take it as V. The distance till the center of curvature is radius R. So these are the various distances that we can measure. Now let's say if this is the normal, this is the incident ray, this is angle of incidence. This is angle of refraction. This is R, angle of refraction. Now these three angles I will mark it as alpha, beta, gamma. So this is alpha, this is beta, and this I take it as gamma. So this is how the figure is. I, R, alpha, beta, gamma, U, V, R. So this is a figure. These are the various angles and distances that we are going to consider in our derivation. In this figure, this is a curved surface. So what we can do is we can draw a perpendicular here and mark it as M, so that measuring is easier, and we will take that height as H. Now going into the derivation, let's consider the triangle AOC. This triangle AOC. Now in this triangle, I becomes an exterior angle. So triangle AOC, angle I is equal to alpha plus gamma. Alpha plus gamma, that is exterior angle property. I is equal to alpha plus gamma. Similarly, let's consider AIC, triangle AIC. So gamma becomes an exterior angle. So gamma is equal to R plus beta. So that's clear. You have I, R plus gamma, and gamma is equal to R plus beta. Now since this is a refraction that's taking place, we will use the law of refraction, that is Snell's law, which says sin I by sin R is equal to N2 by N1. That means we need I and R. I we have, from this we can obtain R. So we can write R is equal to gamma minus beta. Then we will apply Snell's law. So from Snell's law, we can write sin I by sin R is equal to N2 by N1. We can cross multiply, so you will get N1 sin I is equal to N2 sin R. Now we have considered a curved surface of very small aperture. Now this is one assumption that we are going to consider throughout our derivation, that is the aperture of the curved surface. Even when we move on to lenses, we are going to use this assumption, that is the aperture is very small. Now if apertures are very small, then the trigonometric ratios, that is sin I, can be taken as almost equal to I. So please remember this general assumption that we are making. For smaller aperture, angles will be very small, so you can assume that sin I is almost equal to I. So we can rewrite this equation as N1I is equal to N2 R. So our equation takes this form, where we can substitute values of I from here and R from this. So I am going to substitute the value. So I is equal to, I will just write it here, alpha plus gamma, R we will keep it there. So we can write N1 into I is alpha plus gamma is equal to N2 into R is gamma minus beta, gamma minus beta. So this is what we obtained. We substituted values of I and R. Now let's take two, in this also you have a gamma, here also you have a gamma. So let's take the gamma terms together to one side and keep alpha and beta this side. So I'll just open the bracket and write it. So N1 alpha plus N1 gamma is equal to N2 gamma minus N2 beta. I'll take beta here. So N1 alpha plus N2 beta is equal to, gamma is common, N2, N1 comes that side, N2 minus N1. So this is how our equation now looks like. That is N1 alpha plus N2 beta is equal to gamma into N2 minus N1. Now we have to obtain an equation where alpha and betas are not there. That means we will have to write alpha, beta, gamma in terms of measurements that we know. That can be U, V, R, H. These are the various length measurements that we know. So we will have to write it in that terms. Now as I said, since the aperture is very small, alpha can be written as, now generally it's to measure any angle, we normally take the tan of that angle. Instead of sine and cos, we generally consider tan of that angle. That gives us a more accurate value for that, that angle. So here alpha, since that is for small aperture, now writing this is a very important step, that is mentioning small aperture, because this is applicable only for small aperture. So for small aperture, alpha can be taken as tan alpha. And what is tan alpha? Tan alpha from this right angle triangle, we will consider NOM. From this right angle triangle, tan alpha is, this is AM divided by opposite by adjacent, OM. What is AM? AM is height. H divided by OP is U, and U is in the negative direction. So we will write it as H divided by minus U. Now similarly we will write for beta. So beta is equal to tan beta, that is equal to, so this is beta, we will again consider this right angle triangle. So beta is equal to AM divided by MI. So this will become equal to, where is your AM? AM is H, so we will write it here, H divided by MI. M for smaller aperture, again M and P will be very close. The curvature is very small, means it's almost a straight line. So you can say M and P are very close. So this distance is V, and V is in the positive direction. So we will take it as H by V. Now gamma is equal to tan gamma. So we will consider this right angle triangle, that is again AM divided by, what is the distance? MC or PC. Again, as I said, smaller aperture, these are almost very close. AM is H and this is positive R. Now we will put in these values of, so this is our alpha, beta, gamma. I'll just write them here so that it becomes easier. So alpha is equal to H by minus U. This is our beta, H by V. So beta is equal to H by V and gamma is equal to H by R. Gamma is equal to H by R. We will also write down this equation which we had already obtained, that is N2 beta plus N1 alpha is equal to N2 minus N1 into gamma. Now we will substitute values of beta, alpha and gamma here. So N2 beta is H by V plus N1, alpha is H by minus U is equal to N2 minus N1, gamma is H by R. H is common, so we can just cut it off. So what is left? You will get N2 by V, this is minus U, so we will write it as N1 by U is equal to N2 minus N1 divided by R. So this equation, that is N2 by V minus N1 by U is equal to N2 minus N1 divided by R is the formula of, or an expression of refraction at a curved surface, that is a convex surface. When you do for a concave surface also, we will obtain the same. Now another one what you can do is, since N1 is air, N1 will be equal to 1. So you can also write N2 can be just written as N, or we can say N is equal to N2 by N1. So throughout if you multiply with N1, let's multiply throughout with N1. So what happens? Multiply throughout with N1. So what happens? N2 by N1V minus, this will become 1 by U divided by N1. N1 just goes off. 1 by U is equal to N2 minus N1 divided by N1 R. So again you can just split it into 2. You can write it as N2 by N1R minus N1 and N1 goes off 1 by R. You will get it like this. So N2 by N1 can be substituted by N. That is a refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. So you can write it as N by V minus 1 by U is equal to, this is N by R minus 1 by R. So I can put together N minus 1 into R. So either you can say N1 is equal to 1 because it is air, and in case, now if it is not air, if it is some liquid, then N represents refractive index of second medium with first medium. So these two are the equations for refraction at a convex surface. Thank you.